Howdy howdy, the name's Toast, and today I have made extremely lazy content, which was not my intention whatsoever. I did go into this with the thought of like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna like actually try hard and make some good designs, and then it just beat me down, you know? So today we're redesigning Garten of Banban characters, okay? If you don't know what Garten of Banban is, you're so lucky. It is a mascot horror game akin to the likes of FNAF, the likes of Poppy Playtime, things of that nature. And it is bad. Undoubtedly bad. And, you know, I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's probably just the devs, you know, they're playing into it. I don't think they are. I think that the game is just actually, and I don't think that the devs realize that. So, you know, but, you know, and I'm not trying to be mean to the game or to the devs, you know, of this game. You know, it's just an opinion. Maybe you really like the game, you know, and I personally think the game is so bad it's good sort of vibes. I love watching MatPat play through it. It's so funny to me. This game is absolutely ridiculous. I will say, the character design of the game is not my favorite. So the mascots of this game, they're at it's a kindergarten, basically. It's called Garten of Banban. It's a kindergarten. And these mascots are supposed to take care of the kids here at the kindergarten. And I know that in the lore, the reason that they look the way they do is because they are, you know, molded from clay and stuff like that. And they're made from, like, Givanium. It's a whole thing. Point is, they look like gross clay monsters. And, you know, for maybe the horror aspect, that's kind of cool. For the idea that these guys belong in a kindergarten, less cool. Because I think that, and maybe it's just me personally, I know for a fact this is me personally, I do not like clay blobs, okay? It's something about, I don't know, it kind of grosses me out in a way, and I can't do it. I can't do it. So kid me would not have liked that. However, I will say, if they wanted to go with this whole clay like vibe of like them being made out of clay, they should have had all of them move like they were actual claymation. You know, have that like jittery movement to them. I think that would have made the game so much creepier and a cooler design aspect. But you know what? We're not here to talk about that. We are here to redesign these characters, and unfortunately, there's not a lot to go off of. So I did my best. No, I didn't. I did moderately my best. And you'll see what I mean when we actually get into the designs here. So, you know, just this video is what it is, and I just have to accept that. And, you know, do I still think that my designs are better? Maybe. That's up to you. It's subjective. Maybe you like the way that the Banban characters look and the way they're designed. So, you know, you might look at my designs and go, that ain't it, chief. And that's fine. But I do think that my designs have a certain charm to them that the game designs don't. I personally think that my designs are more appropriate for like mascots that are supposed to be taking care of children and stuff like that, with the limited amount of things that I could do. So why don't we just hop right in so you can see what I'm rambling and talking about. So let's hop into it. All right, hopping in to the first design here, we have Banban. We're starting obviously with the quintessential character, the title character, Banban. He's like the first character that no, he's not the first character you meet. The first character you meet, the bird, I think. But close enough. He's the first character you can speak to. And there's not a lot really to go off of these designs. I'll put like a image of them up on screen for you in case you've never seen this before. And it's really just like a humanoidish red blob with some party hats on his horns. That's it. That's all there is to go off of. There's like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know. So I had a couple thoughts. And one of the thoughts was, okay, obviously Banban's supposed to be like devilish, so I wanted to keep that sort of vibe, which is why I end up giving him these like goat legs, because the devil associated with the goat for some reason, who knows why. And I also wanted to keep as much of the unique designs of their aspects that I could, so I gave him the big forearms like he has. I kept his like square shaped head, you know, I changed it a little bit, give him a slight bit of definition between them, but I kept like that shape pretty clean right there. I gave him his horns, you know. I played around with a lot of ideas. I decided not to give him a tail because he doesn't have a tail in the game, you know. There was a lot of things that I was trying to determine here, but in the actual like designing of like what I thought I could do is they're supposed to be based off of clay creatures, right? And so I thought I will base them off of those beautiful, like they're like partly clay sculptures where, and it's mainly like animals. You see like dragons, wolves and things like that, where it's like the face is made out of clay and the rest of it is like a wired armature with like fur and stuff on top. And I thought that would be great. So in this case, it would be his face, the palms of his hands, and his hooves would all be clay, and the rest of his body would be an armature of sorts with fur wrapped around that. One, I think that fur is more inviting for children. It's more fluffy, you know, so kids will probably want to hang around him more and give him some hugs and stuff. Two, they needed anything going for them, you know, and I thought that this would be a great way to implement that sort of clay vibe, but make them look maybe a tiny bit more friendly or creepy. That was sort of the goal, is to have them both look friendly and creepy. They can look friendly in the daytime, but honestly to God, if this thing was staring at me in the dark, I think I would be a little scared. Now, their faces were a little hard for me to figure out, but I ended up just going with a simple, you know, smile. Had to keep his tongue out. That's like an iconic thing of Banban. I decided to only give him one party hat instead of two, because the idea of Banban is that he's struggling, like, between his like darker self and the self he's supposed to share with, like, you know, his friendly side that he wants to share with kids and everything. So I thought, okay, he has one party hat because it's like he wants to, you know, be there for the kids, but then his other party hat is off because, you know, there's something there, you know. And you'll actually see why he's wearing specifically this party hat on this horn a little bit later. So I wanted to give them just some rosy cheeks. I wanted to keep his design simple. He has like, and this is the thing, it's on the original Banban. They made him red, but then they just gave him two party hats, and I don't think that they cared about what colors they chose to give him in the party hats. I decided cream, this white cream color, because I thought that that would look well with the rest of Banban's design, and would mesh well with the other characters, and you'll see what I mean. And I decided to give him pink and blue on his party hats, because there are two other sort of Banban clones, I guess you could say. There's Banbalina, who is the quote-unquote female version, and so she's white, and there's another one who I can't remember it, but he's blue. So I decided to keep those colors because it's the Banban family, and also blue and pink are typically associated with, you know, the genders of children, you know, girls and boys. Now, I also decided to give him and he's the only person that I decided to do this for, because I kind of got lazy after this, but I decided to give him a horror form. Because I thought, you know, this first one is nice, but it's like, it's a little friendly looking, so it wouldn't be that spooky. I think it'd be a little scary. But I decided to give him this sort of scary form that's supposed to align with, like, their hellish forms, I suppose. So his body is long and, like, looks malnourished, because, like, part of their hellish form is that he's, like, hungry. So I decided to make him look malnourished, because in the actual version of him, the hellish form, he doesn't look hungry to me, you know? He looks full, you know? He's a beefy man. So I wanted to convey that more. I also decided to give him this, like, really long jaw, which you see I make later even longer, because I didn't think this was long enough, and make his tongue extra long. And you can see here I have his horn, where the party hat goes, is broken. So I imagine maybe it's actually broken underneath the party hat. I keep calling it a party horn, but maybe his horn underneath the party hat is broken, and that's why he wears it. Now, for his colors, I decided to make him a slightly darker red, because that's, ooh, spooky, so scary. And then I couldn't decide what I wanted to do for his face. I think I do end up leaving it black, because it's like the opposite of the white. You know, it's fun, it's scary, you know. It also allows him to blend in with the shadows more, which I think is always terrifying, is when a creature blends in so well with, like, the darkness that it's hard to see them, or you can only catch glimpses of them. So I wanted to keep that. And separating his tongue from his body was a little difficult, because it's like they're both red, but I wanted to stand out. And I ended up giving him this, like, crazy, like, bright glow coming from the inside of his body. So who knows what that's from. And then, of course, covering him in some blood, because why not? And then I think it was about this point where I was like, I did not push this design far enough. I could push it further. And to be honest with you, I could still push it further even now. But I decided to leave it where it was, because, again, this is a lazy episode. So I decided to push, you know, a few aspects of him more. I decided to make his arms even larger, his mouth even bigger, you know. And I think he is quite spooky. I would be very scared of this man running after me in the middle of the night. Whereas regular Banban, like the Banban from the game, I don't know. I mean, I definitely would be spooked out. I'd be scared if anyone or anything was running after me in the dark, to be fair. But I think I'd be more scared of this than the regular Banban or the regular hellish form of Banban. So that is, I think it's Banban pretty much done. So here you are. I hope that you enjoy my version of Banban compared to the original. Alright, this is where I would say the video, in terms of laziness, starts to go downhill. We're not like peak laziness yet, but it's starting to get there. And the reason I say this is because Banbalina is basically just a Banban recolor. Now, I definitely did a couple of things in Banbalina's design to differentiate her from Banban, because in the game itself, Banbalina literally doesn't look that different. She's just a white version of Banban with a bow on her head. That's it. But I wanted mine to actually be a little bit different, to have, you know, some differing intrigue to her. So whereas Banban is based off of a goat, because, you know, he's devilish, like, I decided to base Banbalina off of a sheep, because she is, in fact, white. That was it. That was the whole reason I decided to base her off of a sheep, is because she has clay is white, and so I thought that would fit in well with the white wool, the fur, if you will. Obviously, I kept the few design aspects that she does have going for her, which is her bow. Her bow. That's it. I kept the big forearms and all of that. I wanted her to still look as if she came from the same family, she was the same species, or whatever, as Banban. So kept keeping the hooves and all of that. Now, I did end up making, and I thought this was really cool with like the wool design. It's because it's like fluffy. I could give her this sort of like romper looking outfit that I thought was really cute. In the game, Banbalina is a teacher. And honestly, I don't know, there's something about the shoulder pads, the fur forming the shoulder pads, that's really given that to me, and I really like it. I decided to give her a cute little happy face. I honestly could have done a horror design for Banbalina, but I simply chose not to. Gave her a couple little bows on her wrist. I did think about maybe giving her the ribbons on her legs as well, and maybe if I was gonna change anything about these designs, I would get rid of the legs get rid of the ribbons on the legs of Banban and put them on Banbalina instead, and sort of mimic like ballerina shoes. I think that would be cool, but I just didn't think it was necessary. I didn't want them to look too similar. I wanted them to be similar enough, but I didn't feel like giving Banbalina the leg ribbons was a necessity. And I just, you know, I colored her, gave her the white porcelain sort of clay face, made her fur white, and then gave her some pink accents. And that was literally it for Banbalina. Alright, this is where full laziness begins to set in with these last two designs. First up, we have Jumbo Josh. I wanted to choose him because he's like one of the first antagonists of the game that you meet, and also, I mean, he's literally based off of a gorilla. That's like his entire design, but he doesn't, first of all, he doesn't really look like a gorilla to me, and second of all, why would you allow that in your children? He looks so scary. So I wanted to make him a little more friendly, and so I gave him a more explicit, I wanted to make him more friendly, and then I made him explicitly look more like a gorilla. And I don't think gorillas look friendly, but I think he's, you know, he's like stuffed animal, like gorilla monkey vibes, you know? Like, he kind of gives me like monkey in a barrel vibes, you know what I'm talking about? Even though he's a gorilla and not a monkey. Two different things, but don't worry about it. Also, sorry for not drawing his pose on camera, I just forgot to hit record, so that was mainly when I was figuring out his body type, so I gave him this, like, and his body type is very similar to his actual body in-game. It's just, like, big up and small bottom. That was really good speech right there. But a big, like, upper half of the body and a you know, smaller lower half, like real gorillas in real life. And I knew that going into this design, I really wasn't going to change much. Like, you know, the design is pretty okay. It just needs a little bit, maybe extra bits to make it a little more friendly. There's nothing wrong with a simple design, you know? Like, Garten of Banban having simple designs, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that they're a little not exciting, you know? And, you know, not meant for kindergarten children. Like, if I were a parent, I would not leave my kids with the original creatures. I wouldn't do that. But with this guy, you know, maybe I would. So, obviously, he's a green gorilla. Just added in his green colors here. I wanted to give his coloration a little bit more of like what an actual gorilla like fur coloration is, where it's like darker at the chest and then near the behind it gets a little bit lighter. Also gave his hands, and I gave him paw pads, even though, you know, he's a gorilla, but, you know, he's a fictional made-up gorilla, so, you know. Give him a friendly face. I also give him a little bow around his neck to make him look more appealing, you know? And I really what's carrying these designs is like this porcelain face idea. You know, that was the whole idea. I think we nailed it on Banban and Banbalina, and then it's just like here it's like redundant. It's like, do I need to see more of the porcelain face fuzzy monsters? No. Did I draw a couple more anyway? Yes. Could I have given him maybe some fun patterns on his body? Yes, I could. Did I think about it? No, I literally only thought about it right now. But you know what? It's fine. Here's Jumbo Josh for you, okay? What more could you want out of a giant green monster that's supposed to be an antagonist? I don't know. Finally, the last character we have for this video is actually my favorite character, Nab Nab, which I find very ironic because I spent like the least amount of time on him, even though he's my favorite character, which is ridiculous to me, but whatever. Now, Nab Nab, I was like going through the thought process of like, how the fuck do I turn a spider, a creepy ass spider with like a slit mouth? How do I make him look friendly? You know, at least mildly. And so I was looking at his design, and he's not actually a spider, he only has 4 legs. And that made me think, oh, he's kind of star-shaped. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make him star-shaped, because that seems more friendly to me. And so I looked up references of Patrick Star, so I could see how to draw a star-shaped character. Nab Nab is supposed to be the, like, opposite of Banban. Banban has friends. Nab Nab's lonely. Banban has multiple colors. Nab Nab's all monochrome. You know, Banban is humanoid. Nab Nab's more animalistic. Throw that last one out of the window because I changed their designs. But that's fine. His design, I was like, do I keep split mouth? It's kind of creepy, but I decided to keep it because I felt like changing it would be disrespectful to Nab Nab, to our boy. Okay? I relate to him on a personal level, you know, being lonely, even though I have plenty of friends whom I adore and love. But you know, when he finds love with Nabnalina, is that her name? I don't know. You know, it's brilliant. It makes me happy. Nab Nab's the best character in the game. I don't know. He's so ridiculous. And so, I mean, that's it. I made him a star. That's the whole design. I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's just a guy in a star suit, I guess. That's it. He's a really good design. Yeah, this was when I got really lazy. This design took me maybe like 27 minutes, I think. Like, shortest character design I've ever done in my life. So, you know, I really went all out with these Banban designs, you know what I'm saying? I'm joking about all this, but actually, I kind of like the way he looks. I think he looks really silly, and I think he looks really cute, and I think that's what you want in a mascot for kindergarten. You want him to look silly, and you want him to look cute, and I think that I achieved that. I made Nab Nab not look as scary. I think that his freakish little arms can bend backwards freakishly? Yes. Did I draw that? No. But maybe I could. First colors, like I said, I have him monochrome because that's like his thing. So he's all monochrome blue, and that's it. That's it. And with that, we have finally finished my Garten of Banban redesigns. Did I redesign every single character? No. There are so many characters in this game that I could have redesigned. The 4 that I chose, I'm pretty happy with. I think the only other person that I really would have chosen to redesign would be Sheriff Toadster, except why would I redesign him? Because he's literally perfect. He's like the only good character design in that game. Shout out to Sheriff Toadster, we love him around here. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the designs. As you can see, they were in fact very lazy towards the end. But you know what? That happens sometimes with art. You intend to set out and create something cool, and then you're like, there's nothing here. You know? And it is what it is. So, I do hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you enjoy my version of the characters more than the original. Let me know if my lazy redesigns you think are better. What you think maybe I shouldn't have changed about them, what I should have changed, whatever you think. Let me know if you're like super deep into the lore way more than I am. You know, maybe I did some things that were contrary to the lore of the game. So maybe, you know, tell me that. You know, just be nice about it. That's all I ask. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If it would be, you know, within your power, I would absolutely love it if you could subscribe and like and comment, you know, do all the YouTube jazz, all of that kind of stuff. That would greatly help this artist that, you know, really would like to, you know, be successful. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you'll stick around and watch some more of my videos. That's gonna be it for me today. I hope you have a wonderful day,